Long sweeping right-hander through turn 2, up 4 into 5, where you'll see a lot of passes on the brakes into there. If the guys can get it slowed down through 7, and then the tight right-hander down into turn 8. They call it the museum corner. Good job out of there in that fast chicane. We've seen a couple accidents with the wet there.
Yep.
All the way down into 12. The track G's out down there at the bottom as it goes back up the hill to 13, down through 14, through 16, and then the last corner. Downhill left-hander onto the front straightaway. We've seen a couple puddles on the outside of that last turn with the rain, so it's another one to watch for.
There's not one turn or straightaway that might not be a factor. Here to say, every single straight, every single turn could be the one that throws you down. And these twins, although they're not the horsepower of the Hono Superbikes, they still have plenty of power to give you the Snapdragon, Jason. And like I said, I hope you feel drier than you look, bud. You look like a drowned rat.
No, it's about the same. I'd say it's about the same. And as I mentioned when I did a pit walk earlier today, when this weekend began and we heard rain was in the forecast, and then it did start to rain, everyone said, I love it. I'm great in it. I'll take the rain, no problem. I think everyone's kind of past that point now that it's been 72 hours of these conditions. But as we even saw with the Build Train race program we just had on track, it's still raceable out here. It's raining really hard, but I don't think it's going to discourage these riders, especially when we look at the experience. When you look at riders like DeCarroll, our champion, Jackson Blackman has been a contender all year. Riders on our front row, they've all told me that they're okay with these conditions, so we'll see how it turns out.
Who's a good rain rider? Caleb DeCarroll, 51 there, the national champ. He told me, he said, I love it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to push. He's a big motocross rider. But the parity in this class, Marcone, his teammate with a win. Ventura with the win. You have Barry with a victory. Mazziato with 2 victories. 2 for Hobbs, 2 for Blackman, 4 for DeCarroll. There are a lot of winners in this race trying to win the final race of the year.
And also with the weather conditions the way it is, we've seen in some classes earlier, could be a wild card from, you know, somebody who might have not qualified so well. 3rd or 4th row could get a good start, catch up to the leaders like we see earlier. And you'd never know when the rain is just always makes for an exciting race.
And that guy may be Hayden Schultz on the Yamaha, going to start in 7th. So that's going to put him back on that 3rd row. Chris Parrish turned hundreds, maybe even thousands of laps here. It is considered probably one of his home races, the 128. Another rider to look for. So there's several guys, and somebody like Parrish who's used to running endurance races or something. I'm sure they get plenty of time out there in the rain. There's guys that, you know, are okay with the rain. There's other guys that kind of look forward to it.
Even in the warm-up this morning that was wet, Liam McDonald was a guy that was in the top 5. Trevor Standish, so just never know.
That was all in the warm-up. Looking for the start for these guys. They are on the line looking through the eyes or the visor of Jackson Blackman.
It's going to be interesting to see with Jackson Blackman. He's had a couple issues with this bike this weekend. We've seen him in the pits, seen him in the warm-up this morning. Broke out of turn 4, so be interesting to see if his guys get that fixed.
I didn't look over my screens. I was wondering if this was the actual start, but you looked at most of those guys. They were on the line like they were wanting to do that test start this time, Roger.
Yeah, they just want to see if it's going to spin or not.
Yeah.
And then that way you know also, because the starting line has got the paint to mark the grid spot, so it can be a little bit slick. Get a good little test to know if you know, you're dumping your clutch out too quick or not.
Let's take a look at our starting grid for the Twins Cup. Again, they only get one opportunity to race this weekend. There are 39 entries. That is our 2nd largest class. I believe we had 45 in the stock 1000. When you're putting 40 bikes or nearly 40 bikes on this track in this rain, boy, you better tiptoe a bit because there's a bunch of them.
Especially look at that.
Oh my goodness!
When you're
look
one
at
of the guys back there in 40th, it's gonna be tough to see with that spray.
Oh, yeah, I said, look at that. I'm like, look at what? I don't see anything. Look like a whiteout. Tommaso Marcone, the fastest. He had a 130.9, but correct me if I'm wrong. That was early on in the qualifier, and it was dry for that.
The first 15 minutes of that qualifier was dry.
Yeah, and he threw down that time, and we knew that it was supposed to rain this weekend. So all of these guys tried throwing down some quick times early on because the back half of their qualifier, it did rain, and it's been raining ever since. And again, they were the last ones out on Friday 2 days ago, and it has not stopped raining as far as the racing's concerned. Find your favorite rider in our field, brought to you by Cardo. 39 entrants. Again, we had 45 in the stock 1000, and I'm trying to look for other guys. Maybe say like Chris Bays starting 18th place. Maybe another rider that's turned many laps on a Twins Cup bike and has experience. The might have had a mechanical, something like that. There's some guys that had some mechanical issues that are going to start back in the pack that'll probably work their way up. And the key to this, Roger, is, and we've seen it in the other races in the Superbike, get them early, get them quick while they're packed up.
And we've also seen some guys too who's had some issues and still got on the podium this weekend. So you have a problem in the wet, if you go down, it's always important to get back in the race because you can still salvage a podium finish. And I'm looking forward to seeing this start.
The 58 of Max Toth, who's going to start in 14th. We saw him with a big crash this morning. I mean, tears coming down of his eyes. He ate it hard. He's out there. His teammates are on the front row. Tommaso Marcon on the far side. He's a pole sitter. You have the national champion Caleb DeCarroll on the Aprilia on the near side. And sandwiched in between is Jackson Blackman. The last time we saw Jackson on track was the warm-up session earlier today, and he had a mechanical DNF in that session. Let's see who can get this whole shot and dictate the pace of the Twins. I don't want any part of those guys behind them. Pretty good run by all three of those front runners. Jackson with a good run. He's going to be on the inside. He runs in a little deeper, but Marcon's not going to let it happen.
No, Jody Berry with the good start as well.
See Hayden Schultz, I mentioned him. That has to be him on that R7. There's only two of them. One is Jackson Blackman. The other one is Hayden Schultz. The 49. So he's the one that's going to look in there.
John Knowles has worked his way up in the second already.
Strong run, and maybe that was Knowles, the blue bike that I saw shoot through the crowd. Tommaso Marcon on the Aprilia is out in front of an Italian rider, development rider, but you're exactly right. John Knowles started in 10th. He's up to second, and he's screaming up to the front. That is Schultz in fourth. Oh, the 70 having problems. Marcon pulls off on the Aprilia. So just when I thought it was the Aprilia in front, that is Caleb DeCarroll that took that spot. And DeCarroll likes the rain. He's not afraid of these conditions at all, and he's going to get a race with Jackson Blackman. I remember 2 years ago in this class, we thought Jackson Blackman won his first race in Junior Cup, actually it was, and they penalized him after the race, but he was very good in the wet.
He was very good in the wet, and we've seen Caleb good in the wet all weekend, every session they've had, every wet session they've had. But look at John Knowles. I mean, it looks like Caleb's trying to make a break, and John's right there.
John on the blue bike in second. We have Jackson Blackman in third, another blue bike, but that is the Yamaha. Suzuki is the machine in second. The SV650 Suzuki has been a mainstay in this class. That bike's more developed than anybody going to the outside. That's a long way around. And Caleb's saying, if you're going to pass me, you're going to have to go the long way, and he does just that. John's not backing down. Now, you're seeing the speed out of him. You don't want to push too crazy, but it would be fantastic for him if he can check out and get away from Caleb DeCarroll.
Yeah, just get in his own rhythm. He looks really comfortable. And a lot of these long sweeping right-handers is where he's made up all of his passes.
You see him looking through the glasses and the visors. Sometimes that can be a hindrance. Guys with glasses and visors, it's almost like a double shield, and one will fog up on you, especially you start breathing hard underneath that helmet. It can get ugly with a man with glasses.
Oh, and he goes down.
Oh, pushes too hard. And you could see how hard he was pushing, but you got to have that limit and be there. Another track worker down. These guys are busting their tail to help them get up, get back out there, because we've seen in other classes, you can pick it up and even still finish on the podium. You could crash and still win in MotoAmerica.
Or at least get back into the race in case there's a red flag and there's a complete restart.
Corey
Ventura, back in the race.
Corey Ventura up to third. We haven't said his name yet, but we knew he would be one of the guys up there near the front. Knowles having to restart that bike, and unfortunately for him, they are way, way, way out in front. Caleb DeCarroll saw that happen. Now he's got a question, how hard do I push it? There's Hayden Schultz. I thought he would be up near the front, a dirt track guy, so he's used to sliding that bike around. This may play in the hands. There's Jody Berry, the 717 Aprilia, back just behind Schultz.
Jackson Blackman's lost quite a few spots on this lap as well, faded back to looks like 6th or 7th.
Caleb DeCarroll, I think, probably holds the lap record at this track. There's the replay of what happens to John Knowles. And he was trying to pull away, but he exceeded the limits. Yeah. Not only the track, but the ability to be able to hold it on that track.
Just as the track kind of falls away right there, you can see lost the rear end, and once it steps out in the wet, it's going to be hard to save it. It looks like Teague Hobbs has went down as well.
A race winner here in 2021 in the Twins Cup, one of our front runners typically. Teague Hobbs, 2 wins, 5 podium finishes. I think Might actually be 6 podium finishes now after yesterday. Jody Berry trying to get in that draft. We don't see that too often, guys getting straight behind, but it looks like he was trying to tuck in and then pull out. You said that's really hard, though, because it's all about vision.
Yeah, usually you don't want to get right behind the guy because of the spray coming back, you know, kind of slowing you down a little bit, and plus you can't see as well. These guys are definitely running Caleb back down.
Yeah, as I'll say, they're not pulling away, are they? And look at the rain. You can see, if it feels like it's raining pretty bad, it's worse here in person. Chris Parrish sneaking in the picture. I said, watch out for the old man. The Ghetto Customs rider has been doing endurance stuff. Another one goes down. That's Chris Lilligard, the 473. He had to fight his tail off just getting here. I think he broke a flywheel. They had somebody help him out and get one of those, and Corey Ventura is now starting to put the pressure on.
We see Corey Ventura yesterday morning in that second qualifier that was wet, have an issue on that last corner on his very first lap, so he doesn't have a lot of time in the wet.
Jody Berry's got problems, or no,
Red
they're
flag.
saying it's a red flag. It is out. It must be raining too hard for these guys. I saw Jody Berry raise his hand up, and I don't know if he was having issues, but that means when he saw the blinking light or the red flag, now they'll go back a lap. Have they passed? Well, they could do a complete restart, actually. Have they passed that point? Because you can go back a lap. That would put John Knowles still up there.
It could. Just depends on what they decide to do.
Yeah. If they do a complete restart, if they regrid them from the last previously completed lap. Roger, everything we say is unofficial, officially unofficial, and now we put it in the hands of the officials. They've got a decision to make.
Also, a guy like Teague Hobbs could get back in this race as well.
Now tell me, and again, I want to pick your brain on this, and I don't know. Marcon went off the track and he broke. If they do a complete restart, he didn't make that start. Could he start again?
If he can get back to the pits, but it looks like that bike is has some sort of mechanical. How are they going to get it back to the pits in time to get it fixed and get back out?
Well, we don't know how long we're going to be under a delay because it looks like it is raining too hard, and Tommaso Marcon is over there on the side, and I don't think that's typically a lake behind him, is there? Is it?
It is today.
Oh, it is. I see some tulies. So there is an action. We haven't seen anybody in there. Roger, you know, they say when it's raining, the fish are biting. There might be some good fishing going on right now because it's definitely raining.
A lot of good places around here on the property,
Yeah.
actually.
You and Rocco Landers last year did some damage. Marissa giving the nice clean up on her champ. Look at that helmet. Now let's take a look at that helmet. It's a brand new one, I think, for this year. Or for this race. I think that's his national championship helmet that he designed, he painted. There's John Knowles. We'll see where it puts him, the 52. Look around the backside. He should have a number 1 on there. You see the 1833 CJ Knows, one of his sponsors, and he does that all by himself. I saw him prepping on it. You see it, Never Give Up. There's the 1. So that's his national championship helmet. And you see the gold paint scheme on that Bell helmet on the left. He changed it up from the colors that he had from his typical one. He has 1 dry helmet, 1 wet helmet. But he did all that work himself. And he did a good job, too, Caleb. I hadn't got to see it personally, but he did a good job. Bitcoin banded all of his sponsors on there. Have you ever painted your own helmet, Roger?
Never.
It looked like you did it with
I put a
Crayolas.
sticker on there one time. That's about it.
Well, Caleb said that he liked the rain. He was not concerned with it at all. But right then, he needed to have some concern for Corey Ventura. Corey Ventura worked his way up, and then he started putting the pressure on. But the question, the tough part is, Roger, is when you're out in front, how hard do you push? We saw John Knowles get to the front and over push it.
That's the tricky part. When you're the guy out front setting the pace, everybody kind of follows you and can judge their speed. There's John Knowles right there. See, his crew looks like they're going to try to see if they can get that fixed, and hopefully if it's a complete restart, he might be able to get back out there.
Well, the national championship has been decided. Caleb DeCarroll is the champion, and Jason Wygant's caught up with him.
Well, we're going to get an update and find out exactly what the conditions are like. You were leading the race, so no roost, but it still must have been pretty bad.
Yeah, it was yesterday when we were riding in the rain, there wasn't water going across the straightaways, so even on the warm-up lap, when I passed a couple guys on the back straightaway, my bike hydroplaned and the front wheel slid out from underneath me. So conditions are definitely quite a bit worse than the Twins Cup has experienced throughout the weekend. But, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of a little bit of a race of not crashing out there at the moment, trying to be super smooth with all your inputs on the bike, throttle, body positioning, moving back and forth, everything as smooth as you possibly can. And yeah, hopefully they re-rack us up here. We can go out and have some more fun in this rain.
Didn't seem to be bothering the champ one bit, boys.
You need that suit right there, Jason. You need the full rain setup, and Marcon is still on the side, and
the truck's headed over to him.
So they can get that bike back. We don't know if they will let them re-enter. And again, I guess it depends on if they consider some of these laps completed and they regrid from that position. How many laps did they actually run? What they were going to do 11, I think, wasn't it? I know they reduced it.
They were going to do 10 laps.
10. Well, they said 8 left. I don't know. This is that point where they could do a complete restart, Raj. I think after 3 they could maybe regrid. They were originally scheduled to have a 14-lap race. You can see a river runs through it. There's a nice swell. Get your boogie board, maybe a skim board. There's that fogging action. You see a little fog going on with John there?
His glasses, yep.
It's always tough. That's I was blind as a bat when I raced cars for a while, and I know that could be an issue. Almost everybody that wears glasses has fogging issues. It's a fact you have to deal with. And even though that visor's up, you see what he has to fight. And you see the air dryers are out, and as long as we keep Juan Pablo Montoya away, I think we're okay. That's a NASCAR funny. You remember when he hit that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
These guys get on it quick. I mean, it seems like the bikes were just out there.
Hey, we saw another course worker bust tail or almost bust tail out here. They don't get enough credit, especially for days like today. The guys sweeping, squeegeeing, helping the riders.
Getting rained on all day.
The entire day, just frog strangler. Corey Ventura's looking at things. I think they're trying to build some heat in that bike, probably putting some tape on the radiator. Where did we have? We didn't have Trevor up there, did we? 11th, Trevor Standish. You see Liam McDonald's bike with the umbrella over it. There is Tomas Marcon and his bike on that trailer. Go get it back, and maybe it's something. In case like this, with it raining and stuff, if the bike shuts off, it could be an electrical thing. You're hoping at that point, and you can get things sorted out. He's had to deal with some issues this year, new to the States. I got a text the other day from Carl Price, his wife, Kathy, who's in this class, Carl is, and they're trying to introduce him to American, delicacies. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I think, was on this week. He had an Uncrustable maybe for the first time. You'd think that'd be a worldwide phenomenon, but I don't guess it is. And being from Italy, having string cheese. I mean, come on, it's mozzarella, Italian, but I guess they don't put it in string cheese form. He did that before New Jersey. Candy corn, I know that was, why would you have candy corn unless you're American? Bucky's probably blew his, shorts off if he went over there. Our producer, it was funny the other day, said, what's my favorite word? And he said Bucky's. He said, if I keep talking about Bucky's. I've said Bucky's one time today. I love that place. I said it one time. He catches it. He always listens to, just when you think Larry's taking a nap, our producer, he's not. He's listening to us, Raj. Marcon coming back on the wagon, and you have John Knowles, and they're trying to get that bike up and ready to go, as well as Teague Hobbs. Jason, you caught up with John?
Yeah, I got John Knowles here. Had to put the glasses back on. Had to Clark Kent it a little bit. It was looking good for a moment. What happened there with the crash?
It was great for a minute there. It was fine, and then it was just slip and slide. So if I can just dial it back one notch, I think I've got this.
You've been a solid top 10 guy all year, but to take the lead and start pulling away like this, is it the conditions, is it the bike, the track? What's working for you right now?
It's the conditions. I said from last week, if we get rain, I'm at the front.
Okay. Well, put the glasses on, but you're Superman in these conditions right now. So we'll see if he can go from Clark Kent to Superman. The bike's going to be okay. He's going to be back out there.
Thanks a lot, Jason. You see them working on Teague Hobbs' bike. That bike had been around. I mean, that's a championship-winning type bike. I mean, come from the M4 squad. We saw a Dumas on that bike. We saw Rocco Landers on that bike and/or that property, and now we're seeing Teague Hobbs as well. A lot of riders out there working on their machinery, trying to get it back and out there. And that's one good thing about a red flag. If you went down and they do go back to that previous lap and you were in a good position, you might be able to salvage something out of this.
These guys got all the duct tape out. It's going to be hard to get that to stick with the bikes being a little bit wet.
All right, what you got? I was like, Chris Parrish, what do you got over there? And I said something about while Chris is out there. You can hear me now. I said, watch out for the old man, because I promise you, he's done a lot of endurance racing. He's probably turned more laps than anyone here is considered his local race. He's a guy that can ride in the rain. I know experience, you can't buy it, Roger. You have to earn it.
No, for him, he does a lot of club races in the area, so got a lot of track time, and he looked comfortable, looked patient, and was working his way toward the front.
Ghetto Customs, yeah, you keep those top three guys. He was in fourth, I think, or third or fourth when they called it there. You keep those top three guys right there in arm's reach, and sometimes it's not about me trying to get by them. It's just wait for them to do something dumb or crazy or out of the ordinary, and you take advantage of that particular time. Can they get this bike running? That's the big question now. Tommaso Marcone, I'm looking at our timing and scoring, and they reset the field again from it looks like an original restart.
Looks like a complete restart.
We haven't gotten word for that, and it shows 10 laps to go on our board. But for it to do that, that tells me we'll probably have a complete restart. And here's your pole sitter right here.
You can see him looking right at the bike, jumping right in, the whole Robin Engineering team.
Let's go down to Jason Wygand. He's not afraid for me to call him the old man, but he is the old man. I'm going to say it, Jason.
You're talking about Parrish, not
Yes,
Wygand,
Chris
right?
Parrish.
Okay.
No, not Wygand. Chris Parrish.
We want to dial in your experience, not your years, but your experience. What are these conditions like? I'm sure you've ridden through just about everything. What's it like today?
You know, it really isn't that bad. I don't see why we stopped.
That's my boy.
Boy.
Well, the only bad part I saw was coming up out of Charlotte's Web. There were some big puddles. We did some hydroplaning. You know, all of us did. We were wiggling down through there, but that was the only bad part. The track seems fine. Let's go. Other than that, call it good. I got some beer to drink, brother.
Okay, so regardless, Chris Parrish is going to be cool. That we'll move over here to our left. Hayden Schultz. Now the pressure's on. You pretty much have to say it's not that bad because this guy just called the field out.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I pulled in from the red flag and they said track conditions, I mean, I thought it was all right out there. I mean, there's a lot of puddles and it is wet and slippery, but we seem to be all getting along okay up with the front, and so I was just ready to try to, you know, ease through this 10 lap all right and see if we can make some moves at the end. But yeah, they called it, so I'm not sure exactly what the plan or the situation is now, but I'm ready to go whenever they decide the track's all right.
I was surprised you were in this pack and riders were still trying to make moves. Trying to make passes, not just try to survive.
Yeah, I mean, you're still racing. It's just almost like it's in slow motion, right? You're jockeying for position, and you still want to be up there. And, you know, we're racers at heart. You can't just get us to stop just because it's a little wet. So, yeah, I mean, you see the guy going a little slower in front of you, and you say, yeah, I'm going to pass this guy, right? Especially when you see the guys at the front trying to make their getaway. You know, you're trying not to let that happen. So, yeah.
We were asking earlier, you switched back to the Yamaha. How's the bike been working for you since you jumped back on it?
Yeah, the bike's been working great. I've got a great team behind me, Gene Bertram and Gary Jeffries. They work tirelessly, along with our technical partners like Vance and Hines. You know, they do a great job turning this R7 into a great race machine in such short notice. So I'm really thrilled with the bike so far, and I'm really excited to get to this offseason and make progress developing the bike so we can come out swinging for next year.
But there could be a few more laps left in this year. We'll see how it turns out for Hayden Schultz. Send it back up as we continue to wait on the rain.
Could be 2 handfuls of laps, Jason. And unfortunately for Hayden Schultz, he probably didn't want to see this full restart because he started in 7th. Now he's got to pass those guys again.
Yeah, the Twins guys always give the best interviews.
This looks like an electronic issue, doesn't it? It looks...
Also, it looks like the rain's really starting to let up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And they are sweeping it down out there. And
look, you can see he's trying to give the crew a very detailed, you know, idea of what happened so they can try to diagnose the issue right away.
here's what happened earlier with Tommaso Marcone getting the start. Just behind him, Jackson Blackman. That 70 didn't stay out front for long. 70 had issues. Right there, he was under power. Caleb DeCarroll takes the lead, and hand is up for Tommaso Marcone, your pole sitter.
It's really kind of scary, too, when you're the first guy in the wet with the spray and you have a bike issue.
Caleb DeCarroll was out in front. John Knowles worked his way through the field. The 52 looked good. Everything was fantastic till it wasn't. He pushed just a little bit too hard, and it jumped up and bit him.
See right there, turn 2, just on the exit. See how the track starts to fall away there? Just gets the rear end a little light, and it came around.
We started to see Corey Ventura jump into the mix, battling out with Caleb DeCarroll, but then shortly thereafter, we saw some hands raise up in the air. The red flag came out for riders like this going off the track at high speed into turn 1. The rain was absolutely dumping. It was pouring out there, and they brought out that red flag and said, hey, it's just getting a little crazy. Let's go ahead and bring them in, re-rack, restack. And we've been told it will be a complete restart. Tommaso Marcone should be able to go on the starting grid. It looks like they're trying to get that, get the baling wire out here. I mean, we're in the country. Do what you got to do to make it safe and competitive. And they're trying to, that is Chris Lilligard's. I thought that was Teague Hobbs' bike. That's Lilligard's machine. Marcone should be able to restart. This is now a 6-lap race, Roger.
It's going to be a short one. Got to get a good start. You know, before we was talking about in the rain, be a little bit patient in the early laps, but 6 laps, you're not going to have time to be patient.
Chris Lilligard was not able to qualify. Again, I was telling you how he had a flywheel let go of him and found some parts through the paddock and around the area, got that bike going, and then that high-speed get-off for him, the man out of Houston, Texas, in the KK47 entry. The sweeper's about to be pulling off, and they're about to regrid. They will have a short or a quick start procedure. What does that mean?
Well, they'll just come around, stop,
and go,
and then come back around. One crew will be out in your grid spot waiting on you.
And no tire warmers or anything else like that out there on the track, and all the generators, they want it to be ready and go. Tommaso Marcone, so it looks like they are ready to go, and that's why I was wondering, the way it happened and he kind of pulled over, it seemed like there might be an electrical, something that looked like it might have shut off. But when that happens, Roger, you got to think, okay, what do I got to do to keep it from doing it again?
That's just what he has to talk to his crew about. Hopefully whatever it is, that they got it fixed. And if it was just a short or something, and it's not because it's getting wet. If it's because it's getting wet, it's going to be hard to fix it right now.
That's when you can bring out the brake clean, right? Blow it out, throw some grease around it, plug it back up again. Thumbs up from Corey Ventura, a fill-in rider this
dark
year.
Dark shield.
Got that opportunity. Yeah, the dark visor on a dark day. Don't get it. He does. He, as well as his teammate, and I do not see on the standings. Are we missing something? Where is his teammate? I don't see him in there. Anthony Mazziato, is he? He's not on our list. Not sure what happened there. We'll see if we can find him on the sidelines or what's going on. I do not see Anthony Mazziato. Okay, I see him on there, but I don't see him on the grid sheet. We don't see him.
Maybe he had an issue in qualifying.
Oh, we know he did. He crashed. Remember on that. Yeah, that's why. He's beyond our 2 pages. So there's the one guy. We talk about how a guy could work his way through up. The one, we see 20 people on our time in his scoring. Anthony Mazziato, the 5:16, is going to start in 34th place. Watch him. He's going to be one to look for. 2 race wins this season. I don't know if he can get a 3rd, but I'm not counting anything out. It's only a 6-lap race. He actually needs those laps. But let's see how far he moves up.
I was going to say, he was definitely not wanting to see them take any laps away.
Remember, he crashed in qualifying, and that's what threw him way down there on that first day. Remember, he went down in turn, final turn.
That was the second day.
Oh, that was final turn when it started raining in their qualifier. Wasn't it? That was second day? Either way, they had to work on that bike. Something happened that first day then to keep him, when it was dry, keep him out of the mix. He hadn't had a good week. He's got 1 race, though. He can change it all right now. And you got a 3-digit trying to work his way up through the field. Well, Roger, now that you're racing this, the rain's letting up a little bit. You know there's only 6 laps to get it done. A little bit of a relief. Does it say, okay, I need to maybe push harder? I can't wait too long to kind of settle in?
Yeah, when the race is a little bit longer, you can maybe be a little bit more patient. But here's 6 laps. You're going to have to go up. It's a sprint race.
They're taking another look again. The sweepers have been out there trying to remove some of that water and sprayed it off in the grassy areas. It has to have somewhere to go. Rain has been coming down all day, sometimes harder, sometimes softer, but it very seldom has been letting up completely, and it shut off again. Marcon has pulled off the track. She's not going to make it. Disappointing finish for the Italian with a race win back at New Jersey Motorsports Park. He's going to have to see if his teammate Caleb DeCarroll or Carl Price can do it for the Robham Engineering crew. The Yamaha Jackson Blackman's going to be going up against the Aprilias of DeCarroll, Barry, Ventura. You got the top Suzuki qualifier in Chris Parrish and Teague Hobbs, another one of the top guys on the Yamaha. Hayden Schultz going to start 7th. He's got to get by those riders once again. He was all the way up there basically in a podium position. Liam McDonald, first time to Barber in a racing situation. Can we see what the 37 can do on his Suzuki? John Knowles started 10th, worked his way all the way up into the lead until he went down, and then the rain came down, and that's why we're going to have this complete restart. They're going to get one quick start on this. The guys taking care of them, the Umbrella girls and guys, come out, and we're going to get ready to go. There's Jackson Blackman and his father. I mean, a true father and son effort here. Mike Coppolis with Caleb DeCarroll on the front row. Now that Tommaso Marcon, his spot's going to stay empty. Who starts behind him? That could be a big benefit for him.
Jody Berry.
That could help the 717 of Jody Berry. There's the reason why that spot's empty. Tommaso Marcon's Aprilia having some troubles, and he pulls it off once again, and disappointed. That's how his American venture is going to end. Roger, what do you think? We got a 6-lap sprint. I think we're gonna see some really push a little bit too hard. You don't want to do it on this final sighting lap, but I really think there's going to be guys maybe trying to, with it being the last race, maybe pushing the envelope a little bit too far.
You would think so. Last race, only 6 laps. This could be your perfect opportunity to get your best finish. Looks like Teague Hobbs got back out in the race after his incident.
And the one bike that I thought was tore up poor, really bad, a similar color scheme was Chris Lilligard. So some of those times when we were seeing him, I couldn't tell if the difference that was Hobbs or Lilligard's bike. Ventura trying to do it again, as you see him here on the warm-up session. I think Ventura probably, I don't know that he's necessarily the most skilled rider. He's one of the most driven, a young rider that doesn't have a place to go necessarily, right? He got that invitation and he's made the most of it from Valachi. He's a podium finisher this year in Super Sport. He drops into this class. He's been used to racing against Sean Dillon Kelly this year and finished on the box with him. These guys, you have a variance of ages, skill levels. It's a different feel altogether. Yeah,
it's a different feel. These guys have been racing each other all year. He doesn't really know what it's like to race against these other guys, but he's coming in here and showing his potential in the wet and the dry. He's a guy that likes to ride dirt bikes and stuff too, so he doesn't mind the bike moving around a little bit.
I think it's going to be very comparable between Ventura. I'd say compare him and Caleb DeCarroll. Both of them motocross guys. Both of them had been Super Sport. I think Caleb DeCarroll might have had a Rookie of the Year one year in Super Sport. I mean, he's been there. Corey is there right now. Those guys are very comparable on their speed and ability. But who's the guy that's going to step up that we might not expect? We've already seen John Knowles do it once. He's going to start in 10th. First turn's maybe going to get ugly too.
The first turn and then also turn 5. You're going to see them spread out 4 wide down into turn 5.
And somebody's going to be underneath and maybe overcooking it. It might look like a bowling incident. But then again, you know standing on this line, I got to think about those places. Where do I have to really be careful and pay attention? That's one of those turns.
And you kind of replay that first start in your head where you know you could have made a pass or not.
What to do, what not to do. We're going to have a complete restart from the red flag earlier. Twins Cup, the final race of the year. The pole sitter is out. A mechanical problem for Tommaso Marcon. So Jackson Blackman, Caleb DeCarroll, Going to be on that front row heading into that left-hand first turn. You see the 516, a two-time winner of Anthony Mazziato, way, way, way in the back. That's why it's important to throw down one fast lap in qualifying. You never know how many you're going to get after that. The lights are going to turn on. When they turn off, it's time to go racing. Let's go. Twins Cup. Jackson Blackman with a hole shot and a wheelie down the front straight.
Chris Parrish also got a really good start there on the inside.
Parrish on the Ghetto Customs entry. The baby blue machine. Looks like Teague Hobbs up there in around 6th, pushing hard. Who's that on the inside,
Hayden
Raj?
Schultz.
Hayden Schultz, the Arkansas boy, on that Yamaha R7. So you got Yamaha R7's bookending with Caleb DeCarroll in between. And now Caleb DeCarroll runs around that outside and down into 5. You said this is going to be pivotal. They are 4 wide, Roger.
Didn't see much change of position. Look at Corey Ventura trying to make a move.
Shortest distance that inside, but he can't get on the throttle too hard when he chokes it down. That thing's going to jump out. And a good run by Jackson Blackman. It's a drag race into this right-hander who stays on it the longest. Jackson tips it in. Can he get it to turn? This has been a very critical turn right here with the guys getting back on the throttle, oftentimes stepping out in many of our classes. Schultz drops back to 4th. Jody Berry up into 3rd now. The 717 in a podium position. You see Corey Ventura on the 28 in 5th. Parrish just behind in 6th.
996 has gone down.
Yeah, having his problems. That's Greg Riesinger out of Ohio, Chiefs Racing Team. It's a 6-lap sprint to the finish.
Caleb's trying to look for a way around there in turn 15 on the outside.
Originally, this is a 14-lap race. They moved it to 10, and after that red flag, now it's a 6-lap sprint. And Caleb makes it work outside to in and does the crossover.
Somebody slid off in the last turn to Corey Ventura.
Oh, man, that was one of our front runners. And Corey went down there earlier in the week. He's going to try and get it up because he's seen what the other guys have done. That is hard to lift that bike up out of that gravel trap. Pushing just a little bit too hard. We see Parrish still hanging on to the top 5. The 128 Suzuki back there in 5th. Those guys kind of separated themselves a little bit from the rest. DeCarroll, Blackman, Schultz, Berry, Parrish. Using that leg as ballast going into that left-hand turn. Guys these bikes are going to set it up a little bit earlier. They don't want that lean angle, and that time he went way wide.
He went way wide and it killed his drive. Look at Corey Ventura in the background there. Just the apex of the last corners, the track starts to fade away. We've seen a couple accidents like that this weekend.
Jackson Blackman's good in the rain. He's proven it before, and he takes the lead again over Caleb DeCarroll. He put himself in a good situation down in 5. We saw DeCarroll pushing just a little bit too hard, and on exit, you run out of real estate. And the proper line was Jackson Blackman. Look how far ahead they look.
Yeah.
You can't look at the front tire. You got to look way ahead.
And I think we lost Chris Parrish out of that lead group.
And I think you are right, because Trevor Standish now trying to move back up into there. I think he's in 5th. Not sure what happened to Parrish on the Ghetto Custom Suzuki, but yeah, he's not in the picture.
Corey Ventura's got back in the race, and also Caleb got a good run after that chicane and made the pass on Jackson right as they drop into turn 12.
Standish is one to watch. Watch for Trevor Standish. He's 5th. Sit back just a little bit. You'll see that red bike peek into the picture. He was a second behind. If he closes in on these guys, I mean, they keep battling it out, especially if he's worked his way up to this point. It shows you places to pass. Jody Berry goes in there. Those 4 are not alone. They're about to have Trevor Standish closing in.
No, he's catching them pretty quick, especially if they go into turn 5 like they did last lap, 4 wide. They're definitely Anthony Mazziato getting the black flag.
Not sure what happened there. There must be something on that bike that's just not quite right. Mazziato was in 16th place, just behind Carl Price and Robert Betancourt for the final points-paying positions here in the final race of the year. There's that 4 wide. Look at the 717. Jody Berry to the inside. Caleb DeCarroll in the lead. Berry moves into 2nd. Watch Jackson Blackman underneath on that Yamaha. He likes that low line, and he gets a really good drive out of the turn.
Yeah, just seems like he gets a really good run out of that last corner out of turn 5. Caleb goes a little bit wider, and you're on the side of the tire longer when you do that, and you can't get the power down.
Did you see Jody Berry? He wants Jackson Blackman, I think, to get behind him and to say, hey, let's pick off.
Jackson's down.
Oh, and Jackson doesn't want to get behind. He wants to get it up and get back up there, sliding out into that right-hand turn. Now both of these riders on Aprilia. Caleb DeCarroll. There's Parrish. We wondered what happened to him. He's still circulating. He wants somebody to get on his tail, said, don't fight with me. Let's do it at the end. You see that oftentimes in kart racing. They'll tap the back of their helmet or, the back of it. I don't know. I think it's every rider for themselves
Yeah,
at
I
this
don't know
point.
if anybody's just going to follow him, but maybe he's thinking don't get in a big battle and let Caleb get away. He doesn't know that Jackson crashed behind him.
There's the Righteous Racing Team, a.k.a. Team Fun Bunch. Jody Berry in the 717.
He's had a great year this year. He's been fast, a lot of races, a lot of bad luck.
And
a couple
injured.
crashes here and there, got injured. So it'd be great to see him finish this year strong.
And a win back at the second race at VIR. I love seeing the clear visors. You see just how these riders look out so far ahead. If you're looking down, you're already past, that point. You need to look way out ahead. And Caleb DeCarroll has clear sailing in front of him, but Jody Berry is now he has a rider he can kind of base his speed off of, stay on a little bit longer if he feels right. It's not a bad thing that Jody Berry's in second right now.
No, especially in the wet. You kind of judge your speed off the guy in front of you. See if Caleb can hold the line here in 5. He's gone really wide here the last couple laps and opens that door on the inside.
He's trying to do that just so he doesn't spin out, but that's going to cost him. Jody's going to get him the next time around if he does it. If he does it before them. But look at the distance he makes up.
We've lost Trevor Standish in turn 5.
Standish just off camera going down into turn 5. These guys, and now there it is. And broken left side, the clutch side grip or clip on.
Clip on. These guys got a lot different lines, these two.
Yeah. Well, typically in rain, you don't want to do those sharp, twisty lines. Let's look at the 16. Oh, under brakes.
Just on the brakes. Look how close it is to Hayden Schultz.
It almost took him out. I mean, look at how much speed he has and undercut him there. That is so close. And there's your save of the day. Trevor Standish is so lucky right there.
So is Hayden Schultz.
Hayden Schultz is even luckier there because he's in a podium spot and almost accidentally got cleaned out, not once but twice. Coming down that front straightaway, Caleb DeCarroll gets the 2 sign. There's 2 laps to go. Black flag still being waved for one rider out there. DeCarroll, the Robham Engineering machine, trying to take his, I think, 5th win of the year.
I think Jody Berry's close enough this lap. If Caleb does that wide line in 5, he's going to be close enough to make the move.
And then he would have to make a retaliatory move at the end. And you see the leg dangling out, making that left-hand turn. He goes a little bit wider, but he might turn it a little bit lower this time. But Jody's definitely picking up on it. I think that was a little bit lower, but he can't open it much more than that.
No, not at all. Especially the next lap's going to be the last lap.
And if Jody's seen him do it every single time, that is definitely where he's going to try and set him up. And if not, then that's Jody's fault. And he's going to look back and go, why didn't I? Why did I not do that? Here he's going a little bit lower line too, and still staying on exit a little bit lower. Shorter distance, if you can make it work, it's going to be better. If you can stay on that throttle, the question is, most of the crashes we've seen today or this weekend most often have been on that throttle and that back end just trying to get out from underneath them. Caleb DeCarroll, the 51, the national champion in this class, the Twins Cup for 2021.
Caleb's going really quick. This lap's got some purple sectors, meaning the fastest anybody. But look at Jody Berry. Jody does not want to let Caleb get away.
He swings wide there because he knows it kind of sets him a little straighter into this session. And he can judge off of Caleb DeCarroll just in front of him. Third, Hayden Schultz all by himself. I mean, he's got a 8-second advantage.
Big mistake out of Jody Berry the last corner.
Come on.
Maybe his bike.
He's saying, come on, shake it off, shake it off. Anything can happen in front of you, but he realizes that might be his victory getting away from him right there. Liam McDonald would have his best finish of the year in 4th right now, but he's 8 seconds plus behind Hayden Schultz.
And Caleb's already went by his pit board. It probably says +0.
Let's see what happens to Berry. And That was a save. That was an awesome move. Great skill. Able to run it on that exit there. And that's why they have that. That was grass. He was down for sure.
And the thing with Caleb where it happened that he didn't have time for his team to put on the pit board. It still said +0, so he's going to think somebody's on him for this next half of this lap.
So he may push a little too hard and do something he wouldn't normally do, knowing that he would have, what, a 3 or 4 second lead. Jody Berry's not going to have that opportunity in 5. That was the last time that he goes through there. Now the museum turn has taken more than 2 handfuls of riders this weekend. Gingerly on the throttle is that Aprilia. Aprilia RS 660. Aprilia is talking about or trying to get into the stock 1000 class for next year. It's good to have a new manufacturer. This is the maiden season, the debut of the Aprilia in Twins Cup.
How aggressive is Caleb going to be with these lappers, not knowing how big of a lead he has?
Yes, and he has no idea. He knows he needs to make it happen, and look at that. All the way to the track edge, and he says, please don't come over on me. That happened to him at Laguna Seca, remember?
Yep.
This is a tough turn. This is where he went down last year. And again, he does not know where Jody Berry is. He's been up his tailpipe the entire time. He has the left-hand turn. He gets this thing standing up. He is going to be gripping that thing like he's in a whoop section in motocross. He comes across, takes another victory for Robin Engineering and Aprilia. Caleb DeCarroll takes the final race of the year. Second place goes to 717, Jody Berry and Righteous Racing. And he looks back, sees no one, has no idea what happened. Waves to the crowd. Third place should be coming across in Hayden Schultz.
And we've lost Liam McDonald, not showing up in the time sheets.
Hayden Schultz Racing out of Arkansas is going to finish third. What happened to Liam McDonald? That is sickening for him on the Pure Attitude Racing entry out of Malaysia.
Awesome job by Darren James and Ethan Cook getting the top 5.
Absolutely. James in 4th, Ethan Cook in 5th. Chris Bays. I said Chris Bays might be one to move up in 6th. Joe Melendez, Ryan Snooks, as the red flag is now out.
Yeah, the race is over. There must be a problem somewhere. They want to really make sure these riders are slowing down.
Then that means that they would go to the lap prior then, right?
It was already over.
For everybody? Not necessarily. They only had 7 people cross the finish line, but when the red's red, that's the entire track. That's not just across the finish. So even if you were about to lap someone, when that red flag comes out. Yeah, some riders still not. There are several in pit lane. Carl Price almost into a top 10. That will be a career best for him. Man, there's going to be a party of the Robin Engineering crew. Carl squeaking out in the top 15, almost getting that top 10. Caleb DeCarroll with a victory. And once again, 1-833 CJ knows how to pick winners, and his boy does it here in Barber. CJ's actually here. He came to be a part of the award celebration tomorrow. And he's an accident and injury, and it's no accident. That he knew that was going to be the dude he wanted to put his faith in, and the whole team. I think he's been a personal sponsor of CJ's, but also with the rest of the Robin Engineering guys, and he's constantly in their pits. Super good dude. Well, Caleb gets some redemption from last year. We haven't talked about last year. He pushed so hard last year. He crashed, massive crash. Fastest lap ever turned at Barber. This year he does it in totally different conditions in the rain and wins the last race of the season.
Yeah, way to come back here and rebound. Yeah, that was a big crash here last year. Chasing Rocco down pretty quickly, and big mistake there in turn 14.
That's his lucky helmet, that championship helmet. There's Kathy Price. And again, everything I say is officially unofficial, but her husband finishes 11th, just behind Jared Treese. Treese, a top 10. You saw Teague Hobbs, even with those difficulties, getting inside the top 10 in 9th. Do you hear the song? I love a rainy night. There's Mike Coppolis, his tuner. He had no idea. That's what they're talking about. Had no idea about Jody Berry being that far behind and what happened there. So it's a good thing he didn't hit ejecto Cito. That's what cost him at the start of the year. Here's some highlights of that last race of Twins Cup.
I think this might be the first start. You see Tommaso getting a good start. Jackson good start as well. Muscle's bike didn't make it to turn 5. Had an issue. John Knowles was fast that first restart. From 10th all the way up to 2nd already. And then turn 2 catches John Knowles out. We've seen a couple guys go down there. Track goes away, then we had the red flag come out. Track conditions was a little bit too bad, too much rain.
It was a complete,
we started again.
Complete restart, but then they cut down the laps to just 6. And when you see just a handful of laps, you knew they were going to go full tilt boogie.
Yeah, they were laying it all out there. 6 laps, last race of the year. Everybody was going for it.
And pushing hard. You see the 28 of Corey Ventura trying to work up through the field. Jackson Blackman was pushing hard. Caleb DeCarroll was out in front. There goes Ventura. But you got to do it. It's the last race. You put it all out there on the line. There goes Jackson Blackman again, trying his hardest. There goes Trevor Standish, almost getting collected by Hayden Schultz. There's Jody Berry, wanting to put a hard charge on there in the end. Had a chance at the win. You can't blame the man.
No, not at all. He knew he wanted to get closer, but you could see the disappointment in his body reaction right after it happened. And Caleb has no idea what happened. He thinks Jody Berry's right on him.
And closes in on that rider with only 1 turn remaining, and that also could have almost thrown him off the track, or could have thrown him off the track into the grass. Caleb DeCarroll with a victory. Had no idea what was going on behind him, but there's the results. You see it on the tally board. Caleb DeCarroll with the win, Jody Berry 2nd. And it looks like, I think the time in his scoring has a lot of corrections to being made. I think they have Zach Thomas in 3rd, and we know that's not the case. So they're going to get that sorted. Either way, we know Caleb DeCarroll takes a victory. He kept it pinned till the end. Jason, that's the way he wanted to end the year.
It is, but just as you expected, it was very stressful, as he said on that final lap, because he didn't know Jody Berry was not right behind him. And then you had a lap rider to deal with, so heart rate went up a bit, huh?
Yeah, you know, I kept seeing +0 on my pit board, and I'm like, well, this is going to get interesting real quick. But, yeah, no, I mean, Jody was riding really good. I knew somebody was right behind me, and, yeah, I was just trying to keep it up and be smooth and consistent. And, yeah, I mean, overall, it was just awesome to show that we could get it done in, you know, no matter what the condition is. And end the year with a, you know, with a race win and the championship, I can't complain.